So let's get started, guys. I have soft unsalted butter and I'm just using the mixer to make sure it's nice and smooth. Then I'm going to be adding honey and white sugar. We are going to be creaming these until they are light and fluffy. And just make sure you scrape down the sides because you want everything to be mixed nicely. Now for my other cornbread video, we used melted butter, but this one I just really wanted a super cakey texture. So that's why I'm doing the creaming method. And this is the texture you're looking for, really nice and fluffy. Even though I have butter in this, guys, I'm going to be adding oil just because I want this to be very moist even when it cools down. Next up is egg and vanilla. So you can either lightly beat the eggs first or just make sure you add them a little at a time so you don't overmix, okay? So we're just going to be adding eggs and vanilla. Add it a little at a time or one at a time and just cream that mixture. We've got half of that creamed in, so we are going to add the rest. So that mixture is good. All we need to do now is get a bowl. I have flour in here. I'm adding cornmeal. And then I'm adding nutmeg, salt, and baking powder. Guys, if you want less cornmeal in the cornbread, that's fine. You can use less cornmeal. But if you decrease the cornmeal, just increase the flour by the same amount. So those dry ingredients were mixed together and now I have some creamed corn and buttermilk. I'm just going to be stirring this into the buttermilk so we can add everything at once instead of doing the extra mixing. If you can't find buttermilk, you can use heavy cream or milk and just stir in 2 tablespoons of vinegar, okay, just to make your own buttermilk. So this is what we're going to do, guys. We're going to fold in 1/3 of that dry mixture, and of course you can use a mixer if you prefer, but cutting and folding does help to keep that batter, nice and light and airy and not overmixed. Then you add half of the liquid and fold that in. If you don't have the patience, use your mixer and just mix it on low to medium speed, okay? So all we're doing, guys, is alternating. We add dry, then wet, then dry, then wet, and then finish with the dry ingredients. That's what we're doing to mix everything in. Once again, if you don't have the patience to use a spatula, use your mixer. Just make sure you do your alternating still. My oven has been preheating for over ½ hour at 375. I'm going to be pouring the mixture in my greased cake pan here. You can use a cast iron pan if you want to. Just pour everything in there. I greased it with some spray, some cooking spray. Bake this in the oven for 30 minutes at 375. Once it's done, it's best to cool it on a rack, but it's so good. It's so tempting. I know you're going to cut this up warm because I always end up cutting it warm most of the time. But guys, it is so tender and moist and flavorful. It's a great after school snack. It's a side dish. It's dessert. It's whatever you want it to be. Delicious cornbread with creamed corn inside. It's so good. I just drizzle with some melted butter and honey and you are good to go. Look at this niceness. This cornbread is absolutely delicious, so go ahead and check out the ingredient list in the description box below the video. And happy baking! See you next time.